Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to the Mystery Contest Series. If you can guess the reason behind this series, you will win a copy of the PMDG 737 for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or an equivalent product or products in monetary value. Now, if you want to know all the rules for the contest, you need to click on the link in the description below for the first episode in this series, where I outline all of the rules very carefully. It took a little while, so I'm certainly not going to do that in every video, so please click on that link and watch that video so that you know what the rules are. Now, with that in mind, last time we flew to Spain, LEBL in Barcelona, and today we're going to be flying from Barcelona, Spain to Bahrain, OBBI, and should be a good time. Now we're going to be flying in the Flight Factor 777 today. Originally I had scheduled this flight for a 748 or 747-8 or a 7, I don't know what they call it anymore, but you know what I'm talking about. But I decided that I really like this airplane and I'm enjoying the time I'm spending with it in X-Plane. And even though I haven't gotten feedback from you guys yet, because the first video in this aircraft has not been released as of the recording of this video, that's okay. I'm definitely going to fly it some more anyway, so I hope that you guys enjoy it, and without any further ado, what do you say we climb up into the flight deck and get to work? Alrighty folks, you know the drill. Let's take a look at the operational flight plan for the day. We are going to be flying in the beautiful Lufthansa livery for this flight, as you saw in the introduction, and our flight number is 0310 LEBL to OBBI in the Boeing 777F. We're looking at 2,737 nautical miles. Nice long flight. Our estimated takeoff weight is 264,273 kilos. Remember, for whatever reason in this aircraft, you can't use the imperial or standard, or I don't know which is which. You have to use metric. Let's just go with that. Landing weight, we're looking at approximately 222,300 pounds. Zero fuel weight is 214,939 pounds. We got a few step climbs in here, so starting out at flight level 320, and then at Orcam up to 340, ALG up to 350, and then Passam all the way up to 370. I do want to note, I've got the flight plan in already. I did save it from SimBrief and load it in, but one of the airways wasn't valid, and so it stopped importing the flight plan from that airway. And so what I had to do is do the rest of it manually and then save that flight plan so that I could import it at any time. So just something to keep in mind and look out for. Okay, blocked fuel is 49,969 pounds. We have more fuel than that. We're a little over 60,000 pounds. Two reasons for that. One is the way that I load the aircraft. Remember, I put taxi and APU time fuel in there and then put block fuel in. But I also added extra fuel because after getting everything done, it told me that we didn't have enough fuel for the route. So I don't think that the fuel calculations in the aircraft are matching up very well with the fuel calculations from SimBrief. So just something to keep in mind there as well. This is our route. It is a long flight today. Only 2 packs this time. I remember to do that at least. Cargo 73,500 kilos, payload, which brings our total payload to 73,500 kilos, difference of 100 pounds there. Zero fuel weight, we already talked about that. Fuel, again, I put some extra fuel in there, and then that gives us our takeoff weights, and we are good to go. Alrighty, we got a couple minutes left on our alignment here, as you can see, but we still need to take care of the cockpit preparation checklist. Now, I just want to make a quick note. I did find a free sound pack that a lot of folks say is better than the one that you buy. However, when I put the sound pack in, I don't know why, but it removed my ability to use the scroll wheel, which on the one hand could be fine because you could use that little function there and click it, which was great until you try to go to the other side of some of them, especially over here on the altitude. It was so hard to find that spot there that I couldn't click that. And in addition to that, I couldn't click on any of these knobs. I couldn't click any knobs up here, and so it basically made the aircraft useless for me. I have no idea why it did that, but there you go. So unfortunately, we're still stuck with default sounds for now, but other than that, everything else is working just fine. So let's take a look at our cockpit preparation checklist. The pre-flight was already done. You've already seen that checklist. Real quick note here. Wrong button there. Real quick note here. There is a built-in checklist, which is great, except that you can't check anything off, right? So even if you put it down here, somebody's probably thinking, oh, you got to put it, you know, you got to put it down there. Oh, we got to change that back to nav first. There we go. You can't click on it down here either. So the unfortunate side is, you know, it works fine, but window heat needs to come on up here. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to start turning everything on. Primary left and right hydraulic pump switches need to be on. That's these two here, but the rest of them all stay off. So all of these and these two stay in the off position. No smoking, fastest, and the seatbelt signs are on auto already. Engine anti-ice, I'm going to put all these to auto. Listen, I said this before, if you don't have the anti-ice at least on auto, you're going to end up getting ice somewhere and it's going to cause you a problem. What else we got here? Pressurization panel is good. ATIS, we've already obtained that, so the wind is 090 at 12, altimeter 299 or 8. That's probably going to shift a little bit, so I'll check it again before we actually pull out. We should be good to go. FMC programming is complete. Let me just show you the flight plan here really fast. We'll just go to our legs page here. So this is all part of our departure, which we'll brief in a little bit. Auto brake needs to go to RTO. Click that down one. Common audio panel is set. We do need to go back here and take care of the TCAS. It goes to TARA. And we said we're going to do our transponder code as the same as the flight number. And that's to join in on that's your hint, right? So that and the location or the destination are the hints for why we're doing this series. So there you have it. Let's turn this bad boy on here. Haven't done that yet. And what else we got here? That's it. Aileron and rudder trim are both set to 0. So the next thing we're going to do here briefly is take care of our taxi and departure briefings. Alrighty, let's take a look at our charts using Sim Toolkit Pro and Navigraph, which you can link your Navigraph to Sim Toolkit Pro if you didn't know that. Works out fantastic. And we are going to be departing on runway 6 left today, so it's going to be just about one of the easiest taxi routes that we've ever had. We're just going to pull straight ahead to the left here onto, but basically we're going to come down here to Mike November, and then this looks like it's Sierra, I suppose, and then Papa November, and hold short of runway 6 left. It doesn't get much simpler than that, does it? Let's close this out over here and take a look at our departure. So 6 left, it's pretty much a straight out departure out to 500 feet. We're supposed to be at 500 feet here. This is the Barcelona VOR, which is kind of interesting, but it's right off the end of the runway, so I think we'll be fine there. And then up here to Dillon between flight level 080 and 3,000 feet, hang it right to 091 degrees out here to BL051, then BL037, and then out to Verso at or above 10,000 feet at Verso. Transition altitude is 6,000 feet. ATIS is not listed on here, is it? Alright, so I just double checked the ATIS. We are good on that. Real quick, I'm going to start the APU and then I want to show you something that's kind of funny and kind of obnoxious. So there's the APU coming on there. If you want, you can go down here to the status page. There we go. And it shows the APU spinning up there. And then, of course, we get that warning because we don't have the generator turned on. So we'll turn that bad boy on. There we go. And then I want to hop back down here and just show you this real quick. Put that back on the engines page. Watch right here what happens when I put custom. I turned it off. Watch what happens when I put custom failures back on. Oh, you're not going to do it now. It said I had a fuel leak, which I find funny because obviously if I have a fuel leak, I'm not going anywhere. We're going to have to figure out what's going on. But my issue with this is, and I'm going to start turning this off for now, I don't have a way to deal with it. There's no way for me to address the fuel leak issue or any other issue for that matter. If you have a maintenance problem, there's nothing you can do to address it. So enough about that. Let's take a look at our before start checklist. I think we got the doors closed already. We do not. So let's close up the doors. And of course you can check that using this guy as well. There's the doors closing up there, so that's good. We do need to disconnect the external power. Let's get that back on the engines page here. So we're on the APU now. Let's turn the external power off, and then we can disconnect it. Right electric demand hydraulic pump selector goes to auto. That's this guy here, and then its primary C1 and C2 switches go on, and then this guy, and then these two here. And the left and right fuel pump switches as needed. There is a little bit of fuel in the center pumps, or in the center tanks. It's not going to last very long. It's like less than 100 kilos or something, or less than 1,000 kilos. Either way, we'll turn those on for now. Seatbelt signs on, beacon light should have come on when I always forget, when you turn the APU on, turn a beacon light on. Push the recall switch. So it is an auto start, so click and drag all the way up, click and drag all the way up. Excuse me. Jump up top here, and then we'll start with the left engine. Do not start both at the same time. That is a bad practice. It's true there are some aircraft that you can do that on. I'm not sure that you can or should do it on this aircraft, but the way I've always learned it is that you should be doing just one engine at a time. So we'll start with the number 2 engine here. Go ahead and click that over to start. And remember, it is an auto start, which makes it much easier. And engine number 1. I have to admit, I really do like the fact that we can actually watch the engine start, and it's not, like, it does come on a little quick, that transition, but either way, I still like watching the engine start. So you guys let me know down in the comments if you like watching the engine starts as well. If we can remove them or keep them in there, doesn't matter to me. Alright, let's do a little bit of cleanup work here. First of all, the APU can come off. Everything else is up and running as it should be. Wing lights can come on. We're not going to turn taxi lights on quite yet, but we will here shortly. Let's take a look at our after start before taxi checklist. Left and right generator control switches should be on and lights off. That's these two guys over here. APU selector switch is off. Engine start selectors are both to normal up here. Left and right pack control switches are auto and lights off. Left, center, and right isolation valve switches auto and lights off. That's right below those there. Engine bleed air switches on and lights off. And we need to set the flaps. It's going to be flaps 15 for this flight. So there's stabilizer trim needs to be set. We can put this to flight controls here, and it's supposed to be 5.75. Now last time we ran that at 5.75, it did not, it just wasn't enough. We needed to be at like 9.5. So I'm actually going to put it at 7.5 because I just don't agree with that trim, and we're going to see how it works out, and hopefully I'm not wrong. Look at our flight controls here: full left, full right, and neutral, and then all the way up, all the way down, and neutral. And then our rudders: full left and full right and neutral. And I just noticed the rudder pedals don't even move. That's kind of weird. I wonder if that's just because we're sitting still or what, or maybe it's because we're on the ground. Maybe it automatically transitions between the tiller and the rudder. Let's see if the tiller moves. Yeah, see, maybe it's just automatically transitioning. Stabilizer trim is set. Flight controls are free and correct. Recall switch. We can push that guy again. Nothing comes on. That's fantastic. Wing and engine anti-ice are on auto, and then it's taxi light, runway turn off lights, and so on to take care of our after taxi, or our after start checklist. What do you say we start taxiing out? Alrighty, let's get the track IR on here. I've mentioned before that I've had some minor issues with the track IR, so if we have some issues, I do apologize in advance. I just want to double check and make sure I remove those chocks because I have blown tires before. Chocks are removed. Let's get that parking brake off. Should just be that. There we go. Fantastic. And she's not super heavy, so she just starts rolling right away. I think this is one of those issues though where the ground friction, you know what I'm talking about. I think it's a little too light. I don't know how to fix it, but I think that the ground friction should be a little bit tougher, but I haven't flown it super heavy yet, so it's hard to say. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and taxi over here. It's not too far, as you all know, and then I will see you when we're holding short of the runway. Okay, so here's a question for everybody. Does anybody know how to update the navigation data and runway data and so on within the sim? Because the runway currently is 6 left, but you can see that it shows 7 left here. Now for those of you who are unfamiliar with flight simulation or with flight in general, runway numbers can change over time. It has to do with magnetic variation and something else. I forget the term off the top of my head, but they can change over time. Let's take a look at our before takeoff checklist. As we get ready to pull on the runway here, it's very simple. I never turned my taxi lights on, so that was awesome. Landing lights on, strobe lights on, and traffic mode is already set. We need to start the clock right over here. Do we start it there or there? Start it there. Start the clock there, take the brakes off. Let's get the auto throttles on. I forget those all the time. Still does not let me do VNAV. Not sure why. Hopefully it'll let me do that after takeoff. Let's put this on our takeoff page. The toga does work on this, so that's nice. At least I've had a couple aircraft where it doesn't. There are a few little quirks with this airplane. That's always the case. But let's be honest. I mean, this is way better than the current payware offering for Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's a shout out to the company who made that. You know who you are. I'm still kind of miffed about that. I mean, I knew it going in. I had seen the reviews and stuff, but I wanted to get a 777 going for you guys. It was bad enough that, like, you guys all know I don't fly X-plane. I've had it for years, but I never really fly it. So the fact that I'm willing to learn this simulator, which is a great simulator by the way, I'm not saying it's not, but learn it and go through all the stuff of starting to get things looking nice and all that, which is a lot. There's a lot that I've done to this point and a lot to go yet. The fact that I have no problem doing that speaks for two things. One, I don't have a problem doing that for you guys anyway, but it also
on runway 07 left.
Yeah, see, it's still showing runway 07 all across the board. But anyway, you know, I don't mind doing that for you guys. That's fantastic. But also, you know, I wanted a good 777, and we weren't getting it. And we're not getting it right now. Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm looking forward to when PMDG releases theirs. But anyway, enough talk about that. Let's go ahead and bring throttles up around 50 or 60%, give or take. Needs to go a little higher than that. There we go, just a little over 60%, and then release the brakes and toga. And hopefully that VNAV will work once we get in the air, because that's a little frustrating. We'll go ahead and bring this up just one notch there. Oh, there's that wind kicking in. Just a little crosswind off the right hand side, shouldn't be too difficult to deal with. There's 80 knots. There's rotate. Come on, baby. There we go. Just gonna go a little to the left because I got all that left rudder in. Positive rate of climb gear coming up. Woo! That's me. That's not like the trim setting, right? So, like if I let off the pressure, it wants to nose over still. Okay. Come on, baby. Let's get a little more trim in there. You don't want to be fighting with, you know, your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your pitch. You don't want to be fighting with pitch while you're climbing out. Trust me, it's a pain in the butt. Because you got enough to worry about with, see, it wants me to pitch up higher, but I don't want to do that. I actually want to get to where I can start bringing the flaps up. The wind is kind of all over the place. It did say it was gusty, so I'm keeping the nose down a little bit because I don't want my speed to start reducing. So we're already past that that VOR where we were supposed to be at 500 feet, so I'm not worried about that. Everything else we need to be at or above, so we're just keeping that nose down just a little bit so that speed keeps coming up. And then I'm watching my flight director here. I don't, you know, again, VNAV, I don't know if it'll even let me, see, it's still not letting me hit VNAV, and I'm not sure why. So let's go ahead and make this turn here. And if I have to, I'll go into flight level change mode for now until, I had this problem before where VNAV just stopped working for me. And I don't know if that's something I've done that's caused that. Come on back. I'm trying to get the, I'm not flying very good right now, am I? Alright, we're fine. Okay, let's do this. Let's go into flight level change mode for now. Let's hit the autopilot. I don't know why I didn't just click this one over here. So you can see it's at 156. That's not what I want. That's not what I want at all. Let's get this up to 250. There we go. And we should be able to start bringing the flaps up here shortly. Go to flaps 5. And go to flaps 1. And then shortly here we'll go flaps up, and then I'm going to try again with that VNAV, and if it doesn't work on here we're going to wrap this up and I'll mess with it off screen. Okay, let's bring this up to 250. It's looking nice there. So I do like the fact that I get to deal with the VNAV speed myself rather than it just grabbing whatever speed I'm on. Let's get the track IR off here. Go to this view over here so that we can try and figure this out. No idea why VNAV isn't working here. I'm just going to take one real quick look at it and then I'm just not messing with it anymore. So right now it's showing us that it's got everything set up in there for our climb. There's nothing going on there. So not sure what's going on with that, but every time I click it, it just says performance VNAV unavailable. So we're about to come above transition altitude here. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on standard. Flaps are up, gear is up, we are into the climb, everything's going good other than VNAV not working, so I'm going to figure that out off screen, and that means, ladies and gentlemen, you guessed it, it is time once again for some of that obligatory elevator music. Alrighty folks, let's take a look at our arrival and our approach briefings really quickly here. It's going to be the RNAV Cabot 1 arrival for us today. You can see here that ATIS is on 127.2 and Bahrain approach on 127.85. Airport elevation is only 8 feet. We're going to come in out here at Cabot. Now we're scheduled to go LEBL and then OBBI and then RIGAG, and then that sets you on a downwind one way or the other. But because of the approach that we've chosen, we're basically coming to LEBL and then we're going to transition onto the approach from there. It's going to be well, we're going to show you that right now. It's going to be runway 12 left as a matter of fact. Just real quick, let me show you here why I chose 12 left. You could choose 12 left or 12 right. 12 right is 8,300 feet. We could land on that, but I decided to just go with the longer runway today. So we got 13,000 feet of runway to work with. And again, it is the RNAV runway 12 left approach. Tower is going to be on 18.5, ground on 121.85. Final approach course is 120 degrees, and our descent point is BI 501. I don't know how well you can see that. I'll zoom it in a little. BI 501 at 1,400 feet. We are using LNAV and VNAV, so 332 feet is our decision altitude. And again, airport elevation 8 feet, runway elevation is also 8 feet. Minimum safe altitude in the area is 2,000 feet. Missed approach is to climb on track 120 to 2,500 feet and then contact ATC. So we'll be coming in out here at OBBI or OB1N3, so that's we're going to transition onto that from LEBL here. So from LEBL, and then it's basically a little jaunt over here, and that's going to put us on OB1 November 3, and then down to BI 502, bang left to BI 501, and then on in from there. And this is again, this is our descent point here. You can see coming in at 1,400 feet, so BI 502, I think we're set to be at or above 1,400. That's okay, because we're set a hard altitude of 1,400 feet at BI 501. We'll go ahead and do what we normally do for these RNAV approaches, and I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but go ahead and let the VNAV work, because it does say if you're using LNAV and VNAV, so we'll change that altitude down to, say, to our minimums, which is 3, so we'll change it to 300 feet. And let it do a little of the descent itself if we need to. Pappy lights should be on the left hand side, and we should be good to go. Other than that, runway visual range should be just fine. The weather's looking pretty good. That's our arrival, that's our approach. Now we go fly it. Alrighty folks, as you can see, we're creeping up on top of descent here pretty quick. A little bit of work to do before we get there. If we jump down first of all to the FMC, we want to make sure that we've set up our arrival and our approach. We should have the weather by this time, which we do. Just go into your departure arrival page, and then you can see we've already chosen the COBBI 1 arrival, and then the RNAV 12 left approach, transitioning at OBBI 3. I'm calling it OBBI. I know it's OB1 November 3. If you go to your legs page here, you can see, just like I talked about during the briefings, we went from LEBL straight to OBBI 3 just to cut off part of that arrival, so we didn't have to circle back. That was kind of the idea there. So we're all set up there. Take a look at your VNAV page really quick. Actually go to your climb page to change your transition altitude. You can change this. I don't think I mentioned it in the brief, but transition altitude is 13,000 feet. So you want to make sure you change that. You can also go to your initial reference page and you can choose your VREF speeds. It might be better to do it a little bit closer, but you can also change them after the fact. So if we just select full flaps, that's going to put us at flaps 30 and 151 knots, and so we're going to go there. That takes care of making sure our FMC is set up. And jumping up here to the MCP, we need to change our altitude. I'm going to go ahead and just scroll this on down to 1,400 feet. There we go, 1,400 feet. Transition altitude, of course, we'll set the QNH, which I'll double check that when we get a little bit closer. I'll pull the ATIS again using the radios, but as of right now, I don't have it, actually. I had a METAR, but the METAR is not showing me what I needed to show me, so it is what it is. What else we got here? Wing and engine anti-ice is going to remain on auto. We need to push the recall switch. There we go. Nothing pops up. Auto brake as required. We got a long runway, so we don't really need any auto brake. Landing data has already been entered, and we've taken care of the approach briefing, which means I will see you guys when we're on the approach. Alright, as you can see, we're just about to OBBI 3 here. A little slow on the descent in my opinion, but it says we're on track. You may have noticed I did get the VNAV working. It's a silly little quirk, but in your performance page you have to set the reserve fuel to 5,000. Let me show you what I'm talking about real quick. We've got just a second here. On this page, you have to set your reserves at 5,000. If you set it at anything else, apparently the VNAV function doesn't work. Not really sure what that is. Finding lots of little quirks. Right now, I'm just chalking it up to a new sim, new aircraft, kind of getting the hang of it, and that's fine. But yeah, so just getting ready to cross Open 1.3 here, or Open 3 here. We're crossing that right now. I still feel like we're a little high, but I think we're going to be all right. Let's go ahead and start taking a look at our landing checklist. We are below 10,000 feet. The landing lights are on. The speed brakes are not currently armed in case I need to use them, although it's looking like I probably won't have to, so we'll arm them for the moment. Seatbelt signs are on. Altimeters are set. 2953. Let's get to a proper view here. Get the track IR coming on. But there we go, centered up now. So as you can see, landing lights are on. I don't have runway turn-off lights on right now. I don't think we need them at the moment. I mean, it's light out. We don't really need them anyway. So we're good on all of that. For those of you who may be wondering, if you don't have a paper checklist like I do, just click on your left inboard here and then go down here and click checklist. And you can interact with this. So normal menu, I can look at all my different checklists here. Landing and runway lights are on, no smoking switches on, and so on, and you can scroll down and so forth, and you can go back here, and then there's your landing checklist, flaps are set, all of that good stuff. So if you want to make use of the checklist in here, you certainly can. Step back over there, switch that to there. You can also get all your engine information on the upper IKIS here. Let's go ahead and go to the next flap setting, and as we're making this turn, let's go ahead and drop our landing gear. That's going to set us to flaps 15.
2,500.
And we're going to go ahead and change this down to minimums 300 feet. Let the VNAV kind of do its thing. Let's zoom this down one more. And we'll go to flaps 20. And right now you can see there's the runway coming in sight. And the thrust is struggling to keep up at the moment. There's flaps 20. Flaps 25. Right now it just wants to hold 170 knots, so which is fine. Our landing speed is 150, so we want to be at about 155 on our short final here. I don't have a problem holding just a wee bit more speed on the way in. You may notice the scenery being a little weird, some buildings starting to come in. So I did get an add-on scenery for this. It was free. But there's some libraries you have to make it work, and I don't recall, I think I just couldn't find a couple of them. So, but the scenery is also kind of fading in, which maybe some people don't like that, but I kind of do, because the way it's fading in is keeping it from being really choppy. I did watch a video on X-Plane 12. Let's go and get final flaps in here. I did watch a video on X-Plane 12 yesterday, and was really impressed with what I was seeing as far as just the overall look and feel of the sim. You know, X-Plane's stuck with its typical practice, right? So they're not as concerned about they're not as concerned about scenery as they are about flight dynamics, which I appreciate. But at the same time, the scenery looks amazing in the sim, so they may not be as concerned about it, but they're certainly paying attention to it. So let's get a little more thrust coming in there. Okay, we got the spoilers on. We're ready to land. Let's go ahead and take the autopilot off. Disconnect. There we go, my airplane. Just a little bit of wind off that left-hand side there. We are definitely getting slow. I love the approach flying past these buildings, though. I think that's really
approaching
cool.
1, 2, left.
We are just a little low here. Not anymore. We're spot on now, but we need to continue that descent. So start bringing that nose back over just a wee little bit there. And we should be pretty good right there. I'm liking that. Maybe just a little high here. Yeah, just a little high, and we're drifting just a little bit as well. There we go.
400.
Alright, let's listen to those call outs and bring her in.
300.
Definitely a little too high. My bad.
Don't sink.
We're alright though.
Don't sink.
200.
Don't sink.
Come on.
Don't sink.
There we go.
Don't sink.
100.
Don't sink.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Long landing. Long landing.
Not that long.
8,000 feet remaining.
Reverse thrust coming in. Woo. Come on, baby. You can't hardly hear those reverse thrusters. That's kind of the chief complaint about the sounds on this aircraft. It's acting like I blew a tire here. I don't think I did, though. I landed smooth as butter.
3,000 remaining.
Woo. Oh, we're not going to take that exit there. That looks like a bit of a tight turn there. That wasn't too bad, though. That was a pretty clean landing, if you ask me. So we'll take her down to the end here. I'll exit off the runway at the end. Kind of squirrely for me there. I feel like I'm just sort of wandering all over. Just out of curiosity, though, how's our gear looking? Yeah, all our pressures are good. We didn't blow any tires or anything. I feel like it's leaning to the right, or is that just me? Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Could just be me. Just gonna start slowing her down here. Well, that's gonna be a tight turn too. Those taxiways do not look very friendly for this large airplane, do they?
100 remaining.
Yeah, I know. I can obviously see that. Alright, let's get taxi lights on. Strobe lights off. Landing lights off. And we're looking good there. I'm going to go ahead and taxi this bad boy in. Yeah, see it says VNAV's unavailable again. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so we're going to cross over to runway 3 left here. And we're going to back taxi on 3 left. And then I'm going to take it on into a cargo area. And then we'll come back on here and we'll get everything shut down and call it done and dusted. Alrighty, folks, to be fair, the parking space that I chose was not meant for an aircraft this size. It looks like it's marked for 737s, but not knowing the airfield, I just went ahead and chose one. But yeah, it is what it is. It's not too big a deal. Let's take a look at our, we did do our after landing. I always forget to kind of do it on here, like on screen, but you know, landing lights coming off, strobe lights off, all of that. We kind of talked about that as we were going through it, but I usually don't say, oh, let's do the landing checklist. I could turn my taxi lights off so I don't shine them in people's face. Wing lights can come off as well. The rest of those can stay on for just a moment. Let's take a look at our shutdown checklist. The park and brake is set, taxi light is off, left and right engine fuel control switches can come off. So the way this works is you click them once and then click and drag up, which is a little weird, but that's the way you got to do it to get those to shut off. APU is already running. You get those light flickers. I wonder if that's realistic or not, but I see the light flickers all the time. Seatbelt signs can come off, beacon light can come off. Let's just jump up to this overhead here. So actually beacon light's going to stay on because the APU is running. Nav lights will stay on as well. Not that it matters because there's nobody on the aircraft but us, but there we go. And then C1 and C2 air demand hydraulic pump selectors off. No, those two stay on. I'm sorry. And then fuel pumps can come off. I guess you don't have to have that one on when you're running the APU, just the pressure light's supposed to be off. So there you go. Window heat can go off as well. And then flight director switches are already off. APU selector is on. That takes care of shutting down the aircraft, and that means that's going to wrap it up for this one, ladies and gentlemen. This is a second flight in our mystery contest series. As of the posting of this flight, or this flight being made public, you have 2 days to submit your guess. Make sure you go back and watch the first flight in this series to ensure that you understand the rules. Otherwise, your guess may not be counted. I hope that you enjoyed the flight. I most certainly did. I am enjoying flying this aircraft. I'm learning some of the quirks about it. Some more of those maybe I'll discuss on the next flight that we do in this airplane. But I know that you all love a 777, and so do I. How could you not? It's such a beautiful airplane. And so I'm having a really good time flying it. This is a beautiful livery. I absolutely love it. And I just absolutely enjoy this. And I hope that you guys do as well. If you have not already done so and you think that I've earned it, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Click on the little bell if you want to get notifications when I upload videos. I try to upload at least once a week. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. It makes a difference for YouTube's algorithm so that my videos show up a little higher in the search when people are searching for specific things like Flight Factor 777 or X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Simulator or whatever. That's it. That's all, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, as always, keep the blue side up unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all and have an absolutely wonderful day.